forward. I just noticed that my device had been locked, or my microphone had been muted, and my attention was not called. Okay, so I was trying to welcome those who are just joining us. Sorry, I didn't notice that my microphone was off for a while. I don't know how long that had been. Now, for those who are just joining us, I was trying to establish what we've established earlier. This program is a three-level program. So we have level 1, or the first certification rather, which is a 3-certificate program. So the first certification is dealing with the Certified Human Resource Management Professional. And then the second one is dealing with Strategic Human Resource Management Professional, which deals more with HR strategies, okay, all of HR strategies, all right. Then we'll have Global Human Resource Management, which deals with diversity and application of HR in the global market environment. Now, the program is a paid program, and if you are a member of the institute, you're going to be paying 150,000 naira to attend online and 175,000 to attend in class. Now, if you are a non-member, you pay 175,000 to attend online and 200,000 to attend in class. All right. The program is for 5 days, starting from today, and it's going to be running till Saturday. The program comprises of the training, 5 days training, after which we'll have a 1-week break. The 1-week break, following the 1-week break, we'll have our presentations and examination. And then after the examination, you get issued your certificate. So the certificate that will be issued is an international certificate that you can use anywhere around the globe, any day and any time. Okay. All right. So we're going to go straight into the course. My name is Ebruche Banito, and I'm going to be the one taking you on this program. All right. Looking at the screen, we've introduced some of the things we're going to be looking at. I'm going to reshare my screen in case you're not seeing it very clearly. So on the screen, you have all the things we're going to be looking at. All right, all the things we're going to be looking at. The fees that are going to be paid will comprise of your training, your materials, your project defense, your examination, and your certificate. Now, those that are coming in class, you cover for your meals. Okay, you cover for your tea break and your lunch break. All right. Now, going into the course, like I said, I will encourage everyone. This is more like a distant learning, okay, open and distant learning. So you try your best not to be distracted. I know getting to be in a class in a weekday is demanding, but you just have to try your best to not to get so distracted. All right, not to get so distracted. We'll try as much as we can to cover what we have here today, and then tomorrow we'll be picking another section, and then next tomorrow, and then next tomorrow, then next tomorrow, till we're done. All right. Okay. So let's begin. We have some questions on the screen, and the question says, whom do you send your resume to when you see a job opening that interests you? That's question number 1. Who gives you the job offer and discusses your pay package with you? That's question number 2. Who inducts you into the organization when you are a new employee? Question number 3. That's question number 4. Whom do you contact when you have any doubts regarding your pay package, perks, benefits, conveyance, leave management, and so on? And then question number 5. Who takes care of your training and development needs? Can I have your answer in the chat room? What would be your answer? Okay, so if you raise your hand, I will also unmute you so that we can get your answer. Looking at the questions on the board, what would be your best answer? Who attends to all of these things in an organization? Who attends to all of these things in an organization? Can I get your answer? you can unmute and let's have what you have to say. So I have 5 people in class: Marvelous, Matthew, Sandra, Yakubu. So can I get an answer to this? You can unmute. You can send your answer in the chat room. Okay, so I have someone sending something in the chat room. So Sandra said Human Resources Manager. All right, thank you, Sandra. Okay, any other person? Can we get like two more responses? Who does this? Sandra says Human Resource Manager. All of these on the screen, who does them?
Good morning. My name is Marvelous.
Okay, Marvelous, you're welcome.
Okay, so the questions are 6 in numbers, and looking at the various questions, I can say for question 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I will attribute that to the human resource. And then for the last question, which is training and development, depends on the organization. They can have human resource separate from the admin, and the admin mostly is responsible for training and development.
Okay, thank you so much, Marvelous. Thank you so much. And that question, that thing you just said now will bring up another question. Okay, so Mr. Matthew, would you want to say something about these questions on the screen? Mr. Matthew and Mr. Yakubu, if you wish to say something, please kindly unmute and let's hear from you. Mr. Matthew and Mr. Yakubu, the questions on the screen, who do you think are responsible for all of this on the screen? Whose microphone is open? Okay, so while I await you to unmute, I'm going to introduce another question. How is HR done in your organization? Marvelous said something that is great. She said it depends on your organization. Some organizations separate admin from human resources. So in your organization, do you have them as one or do you have them separated? So in your organization, do you have HR separate, admin separate, or you have them as one, either as Department of Administration or Human Resource Department? How do you have it in your organization? Can we quickly share how is HR in organizations? The mics are open. You can unmute and then let's hear from you. How is HR structured in your organization? Is human resource different from admin or are they together? How? Yeah, Marvelous, your mic is open.
Okay, here at Standard Life Organization, the human resource department is separated from the admin department.
Okay. So at Standard Life Organization, HR is different or separated from admin. All right. So how is it in your own organization? Can we all make our contributions? You know, I was attending a class the other day, and the facilitator said, if you will not contribute in my class, then I would rather remove you from my class because you're not in my class. Okay, and I would not want to remove anybody. So can we all, if we're here for this course, then let's make our contributions. What is the nature of human resource and admin in your office or in your organization? Are they together or are they separated? So I have Yakubu, I have Sandra, I have Samuel, I have Rosemary, I have Matthew. Okay. So if you can't give us a voice, please, you can use the chat room. Okay, so Samuel said in here in One Health, they are together. Okay, so Sandra said they are together. They are together. Okay. All right, so I think we've gotten enough feedback. So let's proceed. Now, just like Marvelous said, some organizations have them separate. And when I started, I said in some other organizations, it is not just admin and HR. Some go as far as dividing them into quite a number of segments. You have those in human capital development, those in promotions and exit. You have those responsible for performance, posting, those responsible for disciplinary, those responsible for industrial relations, and what have you, okay, staff welfare and what have you. So it depends in the organization, or it depends on the organization, and then the understanding they have towards HR will help them know how to manage their human resources. All right. Now, in human resources, most people viewed it as a concept or a domain, a discipline that came to replace administration. HR did not come to replace administration. HR only came to complement administration. In contemporary time, we've also seen HR evolve. In some organizations, they don't talk about HR today, rather they talk about human capital management. Okay, some organizations talk about human capital management. Now, the kind of understanding you have towards HR will determine the kind of connotation you will give to it. Now, those that deal with HR as human capital management, they value their people as assets, and then they deal with people more as a performance-based organization. They deal with people more like talent-based organization. So it doesn't matter whether you come to office or you don't come to office, but you just have to deliver results. All right. Then we'll have those that deal with people more like administration. Okay, the admin want to see you every day, every now and then. Okay, the HR wants to see you, but the only way he wants to see you is see you in terms of what result have you brought, what result have you delivered. In human capital, whether we see you or we don't see you, it's not really a problem for us, but we're interested in the results you're giving. The HR want to see you at least once in a while. They want you to have interaction and all of that. An admin want to see you almost every now and then. An admin want to see you as a tool for achieving results. Okay, a HR sees you as someone that has the capacity to achieve results. Human capital sees you as the result itself. Okay, so dependent on what organizations view it and how we view the different components of HR, the most important thing is for us to understand these different components, and then based on the capacity of the organization, we then decide whether we want to merge all together as one, and then have maybe a head over that department, and then have supervisors to supervise the other elements in the department, or we break them into their different segments. All right. Okay. Now let's move forward with all of the questions we've asked here. We can actually say that the human resource manager or the people managers are the ones that handle all of these situations. Now, whether it is recruitment, selection, training and development, posting, exit, and what have you, leave management, all of these are managed by the HR managers or the people managers. Okay, all right. So it is important for us to understand that the entire life cycle of the human resource circle, or the entire circle of people involved in the organization, they are all managed by the human resource manager, the human resource manager. All right. Okay. So the human resource management is an important function of any organization. Okay, it's a very important function. It encompasses the management of people in organizations from a macro perspective. I would want you to keep tab of that word, macro, not micro, because in contemporary times, we see people talk about micromanaging people. Micromanaging people doesn't give you the opportunity to explore the potentials they have as talents. Okay, and that's why in contemporary time we talk about ownership rather than leadership, as it were. So the kind of leadership we are talking about today, sorry, I'm talking about ownership rather than rulership, all right? So the kind of leadership we talk about in contemporary time is ownership. People should be able to own their jobs, okay? They should be able to provide discretion to their jobs. People should be able to innovate in their jobs and the likes. Okay, so managing people in the form of a collective relationship between the management and the employees. Thus, the HR function is concerned with the notions of people enabling, people development, and a focus on making the employment relationship fulfilling for both the management and employees. So we're going to lend our time to dealing with human resource management all through this course. All right, so we have HR represented as a science, we have HR represented as an art. Okay, and now HR as a science, this with the precision and rigorous application of theory that is required in HR. So we have different theories in HR, different theories of people management and the like. So as a science, we want to have a structured way of managing people. So when we talk about data analytics, talent analytics, performance analytics, and all of that, which are contemporary concepts in human resource management, we're talking about it in terms of science, all right? So data helps us to make precise decisions. Data helps us to make forecasts and all of that, right? Then when we want to talk about in terms of art, we now want to talk about the creative ways through which we manage people. Of course, we understand that people, human beings are entities of emotions, entities of character, entities of attitude. Of course, when we talk about HR, we want to manage emotions, we want to manage attitude, we want to manage character. If we can be able to manage these three things, then we're able to have become effective HR managers. Okay, it is lack of proper management of these three things: character, attitude, and emotions, that we have conflicts, that we have poor performances, all right? But if we're able to manage them, have creative ways of managing them, and that brings us to bear in terms of leadership, the kind of leadership capacity you have as a HR professional, okay? Of course, as a HR professional, you must pay attention to leadership development. Leadership, you must consistently build on developing your leadership. And part of the things you do in leadership development is ability to understand people and understanding which kind of approach you use in managing them in order to get results. Now, the human resource management, therefore, is considered as an art and as a science. Now, moving forward, human resource management is all about people in organizations. No wonder that some multinational corporations call the HR managers as people managers, people enablers, and the practice as people management. In the 21st century organizations, the HR manager or the people manager is no longer seen as someone who takes care of the activities described in the traditional way, which is the administrative way. In fact, most organizations have different departments dealing with staffing, payroll, retention, and so on. Instead, the HR manager is responsible for managing employee expectations vis-a-vis the management objectives and reconciling both to ensure employee fulfillment and realization of management objectives. So this still talks about the macro management of people, macro managing people rather than micro managing people. So you have on one side management expectations, you have on the other side employee expectations. So the two coming together, effective management of the two together helps to deliver results for both parties involved. Okay, this is very, very important. All right. Now, defining human resource management. Let's look at the definition. We have two approaches to defining the human resource management. So we have the traditional approach and we have the contemporary approach. The traditional approach is where we look at personnel management, and the contemporary approach is where we look at human resource management. So let's look at these two what they mean. The traditional definition, the first definition of human resource is that it is the process of managing people in organizations in a structured and thorough manner. This covers the field of staffing, retention of people, pay and tax setting, and management, performance management, change management, and taking care of exits from company to round off the activities. This is the traditional definition of human resource management, which leads some experts to define it as a modern version of personnel management function that was earlier used. Now, the contemporary definition, the second definition of HRM encompasses the management of people in organizations from a macro perspective. That is, managing people in the form of a collective relationship between management and employees. This approach focuses on the objectives and outcomes of the HR management function. What this means is that the HR function in contemporary organizations is concerned with the notions of people enabling, people development, and a focus on making the employment relationship fulfilling for both the management and the employees. So this is where the two differ. Why the personnel management is focusing on managing people in a macro way, the contemporary HRM is looking at managing people in a macro way. One is micromanaging, which is personnel. One is macro managing, which is the HRM of today. Now, there are various reasons, importance of HRM in organization. There are various reasons for organizations, for the various reasons for HRM in organizations. Now, there are drivers also that makes for success in HR in organizations. So it is important for us to understand this HRM and what importance it brings to organizations. It is a fact that to thrive in a chaotic and turbulent business environment, firms need to constantly innovate and be ahead of the curve in terms of business practices and strategies. It is from the motivation to be at the top of the pack that HR becomes a valuable tool for management to ensure success. There is a theory in HR that we call the resource-based view theory. And that resource-based view theory says that it is the quality of people you have in your organization that determines the quality of the organization. I'll repeat this again. The resource-based view theory says the quality of people you have in your organization determines the quality of your organization. So if you have poor capacity people with poor capacities in your organization, then you get to have poor organization. If you have people with high capacities, then you have high organization. So the reputation of the organization is a function of the reputation of the people within the organization. All right, so this is very, very important. Now, what are the importance of HR? We have this grouped into three. You have the evolving business paradigm, you have the strategic management and HRM, and you have the need for adopting a holistic approach. Now, when I started, I spoke about doing business in a VUCA environment. That's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. However, I said we have a new introduction to the VUCA, where we now have VUCAD. The D stands for diversity. All right. Now, the business environment keeps evolving. Now, why the business environment is evolving, the principles, the methodologies, the strategies used in business also are evolving. So if you want to manage people today, you have to put into consideration that you are no longer in the environment you used to be. You are now in a VUCAD environment where we deal with volatilities in the marketplace, we deal with uncertainties in the marketplace, uncertainties in behavior, uncertainties in emotions, uncertainties in attitudes of people. Okay, you have complexities in customer behavior, complexities in people behavior, complexities in technology, complexities in business structures, complexities in new knowledge. So we have complexities coming. We also have ambiguities, several things that we hear about that we don't understand. Okay, several things we want to introduce to our businesses, but we don't really understand them. They are too ambiguous for us to understand. Then we now talk about the issue of diversity. This understanding of the VUCAD environment will help you to manage the evolving business paradigm. That will now tell you the kind of HR strategies, the kind of people you're going to bring into your organization. That will help you with the kind of HR planning, HR structuring, HR principles you're going to be adopting. Of course, in the evolving business paradigm, we also have what we call the agile HR practices. Okay, the agile HR practices will help you manage the agile business environment. When we talk about evolving business paradigm, we're talking about the agility of the business environment, the constant change in the business environment. All right. Then we'll talk about strategic management and human resource management. Strategic management helps you to make decisions that will sustain your organizations or that will help your organizations thrive on a longer term. So when you talk about strategic management, you want to bring issues of succession planning, you want to bring issues of corporate governance, you want to bring issues of vision, creating a vision, mission, and purpose for your organization, right? Okay, so for your HR, you also want to look at how to create talent management strategies that will help you with succession in the longer run, that will help you with people retention on the longer run, that will help you recruit and manage people for a longer assignment, for a longer purpose. So with good understanding of strategic management, it helps you to put in practice the strategic management concepts in HRM. And that will help you in thriving and running your organization effectively. Then you have need for adopting holistic approach. Okay, so that brings us back to diversity. Okay, adopting a holistic approach to business. So many of us are afraid of business, especially those of us that find ourselves as the directors of a business. Okay, finding a holistic approach to a business talks about running your business in a standardized corporate structure. It talks about inclusions of ethical standards in business. It talks about running corporate social responsibilities within your business. Okay, so it brings you to a whole lot of things beyond just people management. So adopting a holistic approach deals with both the internal and the external environment of your business, the internal and the external environment, the internal and the external environment. How do you manage people internally and also manage them externally? That's adopting a holistic perspective to your business. All right. Now, I may not read all of this for this. Now, let's go to the scope of human resource management or the processes involved in human resource management. So, human resource management in contemporary times is limitless. Okay, we cannot say it is just this, and this. No, like I said, it's evolving on daily basis. The evolution is increasing on daily basis. HR is increasing on daily basis. Some years ago, nobody spoke about talent management. Nobody spoke about HR analytics. Nobody spoke about data science, HR data science. Nobody spoke about performance analytics. In fact, nobody spoke about matrices in HR management. But today, we talk about them. Okay, we talk about them. In contemporary times, the things we discuss, we now talk about artificial intelligence in human resource management. So HR is not limited to, who is opening my video? Okay, so you want to see my face? So this is my face. Thank you for opening my video. I don't know who did that, but thank you for doing that, all right? Okay, so see you some other time. Bye-bye. All right. So I intentionally turn off my videos most of the time so that the network don't get jammed. All right. Okay. So now, what then do we have in the current reality of what HR is all about? So I'm going to share with you some information, but that does not limit HR. Okay, that does not limit HR. So let's quickly look at what we have here. So in HR today, we talk about training and development. We'll talk about industrial relations, grievance handling, hiring, which is recruitment and selection, HR planning, payroll management, legal procedures, reward and recognitions, and many more. Okay, so here I didn't talk about HR analytics. Here I didn't talk about performance analytics, or perhaps I didn't talk about analytics generally. Okay, I didn't talk about artificial intelligence here. Okay, but they are in reality the things that are happening right now. Okay, all right. Now, we will break the scope of HR into three. So have HR in personnel management, HR in welfare, and HR industrial relations. So by their names, you can actually say what they are. So HR in personnel management deals more with recruitment, from recruitment to the exit of people in an organization. So their training, their recruitment, payment, payroll, and every other thing involved there. That's personnel management. Recruitment, selection, training and development, performance management, retention, building of policies, training and development, and several others. They are all inside personnel management. Then you have the employee welfare, just as the name is, employee welfare, ensuring that your employees have the highest possible satisfaction while working with your organization. So the welfare here deals with the incentives you are given. The welfare has to do with the occupational health and safety, how you manage the leave management, everything that is involved in ensuring good welfare of your staff. So their pension, their gratuity, their restaurant services, health services, insurance, life insurance, and several others. They are all involved in employee welfare. Then you have the industrial relations, trade unions. Trade unions. As an organization, one or two of your staff will find themselves in professional bodies. If your organization is not involved, of which we recommend that your organization should be part of their trade unions, right? So if you're not in the trade union, you still find one or two of your staff in trade union. So how do you relate? How does your organization relate with the industrial unions, the cooperatives, the trade unions, the several of them? Okay, so that talks about your relationship, the relationship of your organization with the associations that may or may not regulate, but they have their role to play in the management of the trade that you're involved in. Okay, so I'll repeat this again. I will run through these three again. I may not read through all of the literatures here, right? But I know when you get your study material, you will read through them. The HRM in personnel management deals with from entry to exit in terms of HR operations like recruitment, selection, HR planning, performance management, HR retention, policy making, compliance issues, and what have you. Okay, HR in welfare talks about how you're able to manage the welfare, the health and safety of your staff. So it talks about health, safety, and environment, restaurant services, insurance services, pension services, gratuity services, life after service or life after retirement, and several others. Welfare, general welfare. Okay, if you have packages for people and their children, maternity, education, and all of that, you want to give them. Then the industrial relation talks about your relationship with trade unions associated with your organization. So these three provide us with the general scope of human resource management. So one more time, I'm going to run through very quickly and then go through. Now, another vital part of HR planning process is the succession planning. Succession planning refers to the way in which a company forms policies for replacing key members of its organization, shifting transfer of authority and responsibility carefully from a living member to a new member. This often entails ensuring that an arriving employee has the necessary training and experience to fulfill their functions. Okay, so I have a question here. Which of the following is not a scope of HRM? So you have training and development, payroll management, grievance handling, and quality management. Which of the following is not part of the scope of HRM? A, B, C, or D? So let me have your answer quickly in the chat room. Let me have your answer quickly in the chat room. Just type A, B, C, or D. A, B, C, or D. Let me have your answer. A, B, C, or D. So Marvelous say D. Thank you, Marvelous. Who else is typing? So Marvelous say D. Who else is Grace say D, Sandra say D. So it's like the D's are winning. Is it only D? Okay, Mohammed say D. So should we now say the D's have it? Okay, Rosemary say D. Okay, so all right. So the answer is quality management. Okay, the answer is quality management. So, all right. Okay, now before we go to the next, which is processes in human resource management, I'm going to give us an assignment. So I'm going to break us into 3 groups. Okay, and we need to do this in about 15 minutes. So what you're going to do is find out the evolving trends in human resource management. Evolving trends. So each of the groups, when we return, we take 2 minutes and hear from you. Evolving trends. Okay, so let me not break it into groups. Let's take a 15 minutes assignment. Search through the internet, find your research. Each of us get us evolving trends, as many as you can see. So in the next 15 minutes, we'll be discussing that. So you have 15 minutes, evolving trends in human resource management, so that we can summarize. Remember I said HR is limitless. So let's find out for ourselves how unlimited it is. So 15 minutes, find out the evolving trends in human resource management. And how we return by 11:30. That's if you're joining us with West African time, by the time we return by 11:30, we'll have those discussions very quickly, and then we'll move on. Thank you, and see you in 15 minutes. Everyone, please make sure you are involved. Thank you. Okay, so for those of us that have done our own research, please can we post them in the chat room? I can see Samuel posted his. So in the next 5-10 minutes, can we just post all of our discoveries? Let us not just talk about them. Let's post them so that we can read through them. So I'm expecting in the chat room to see all of your postings. Samuel has posted his the evolving trends in HRM, the evolving scope in HRM. So can we post whatever thing we've found? Let's post them in the chat room. In about 5-10 minutes, can we just do that very fast? Thank you. All right, so we are back to class, and I'm reading all of what I'm seeing in the chat room. I have Samuel, I have Marvelous, I have, okay, so just 2 people. So please, let's have what you found. What are the expansions? What are the evolving trends? What are the expanded scope of HRM you've discovered? Can we post in the chat room, please? How many people do I have? I have Marvelous, I have Matthew, I have Mohammed, Rose, Samuel, Sandra. So please, let's do that very fast. Search, and I'm giving you the room to search so that you will find out also some other components, some other aspects of HRM that are not just limited to what we just mentioned, all right? Just to know what we are up for, all right? Okay. So, Mr. Sam, if you don't mind, would you love to talk to us about the areas you've found? What are they all about? I can see hybrid culture, global expansion, employee experience. Thank you for that. Employee analytics, employee monitoring, automations, and enhanced hiring. Mr. Sam, are you still in class? Okay, so you're still in class. Will it be okay if you talk to us on what these components are all about? Please feel free to unmute and let's hear from you. Mr. Sam, please feel free to unmute and let's hear from you.
Okay, okay, well, searching the net, I discovered few things using hybridization. I found out a hybrid structure involves personnel that work from different locations, like because of with the event of COVID, organizations now encourage the employee to start working offline and then not working like from home directly. So some people have to work remotely from their home and then help them, like I said, during the COVID-19. Then the global expansion or shift is a shift work that affects the global market, the remote work guys. Is a remote work. With change of time and technology, the trends in HR has taken a turn, and then in a business and in a foreign land, they become a cakewalk. Furthermore, government uplifts strict policies in a post-pandemic era and support the business too. Employee experience takes. Sorry, am I going to take all of them or just few of them?
Just give us a background on. If you wish to talk on all of them, you're welcome. But just no order. So if you wish to speak on all of them, go ahead. If you wish to just speak on a few, you're welcome.
Okay. 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 So okay. So I'll just because of work, can I stop here now and probably write the rest, send the rest as this.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sam. Thank you so much, Mr. Sam, for sharing. So Mr. Sam brought in hybrid culture, global expansion, employee experience, analytics, employee monitoring, automations, and enhanced hiring. Okay, so Marvelous brought in promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, AI and HR technology, succession planning, managing hybrid work environment, change management, employee engagement, HR, and people analytics. So Marvelous, if you don't mind, will it be okay if you discuss with us on these introductions? Marvelous, can you hear me? Marvelous, if you can hear me, please feel free to unmute and share. Marvelous. Marvelous, you can unmute your microphone and share with us in brief the areas you have identified.
Okay,
or you found
sorry.
in your research. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, good morning. Sorry, I was quite busy. Okay, so what I listed include promoting diversity, equity, and of course inclusion. And we'll talk about diversity in the workplace. Look at people from varying backgrounds. Of course, organization has made people from different background, ethnic groups, belief, and of course religion to come together under one umbrella to work. So there is need for you know, a perfect understanding that people differ, and that's for promoting diversity and of course equity. Equity talks about you know, treating everybody the same way, equal opportunities in the workplace, equal voice. So I think that's what that is talking about. Now we look at artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a new trend in human resource that's fast gaining recognition. So I think it has to do with the data management, of course, just putting HR data in one platform, especially when we talk about recruitment, how to effectively recruit, screen out people using, you know, artificial intelligence. I really haven't, you know, done a lot of research about it, but I think that's what it's talking about. And succession planning, it's strategic planning that looks at a situation where HR have to plan ahead to fill top position in the organization. Like, you know, for instance, you have top positions that needs to be filled. It's the HR's duty to groom people ahead of, you know, that position being vacant. So that's just what it's talking about. I think I would have to end here for now.
Thank you so much, Marvelous, for sharing. Okay, so from what Marvelous and Samuel had posted, before we went on break, we had 11 people, and 11 people, we have 7 people, and 7 people, only 2 people posted. That is not fair. Okay, that is not fair. The assignments are inclusive, everyone is involved. Okay, all right. So now moving forward, let's look at the processes involved in human resource management. Processes involved in human resource management. The processes involved in human resource management. Okay. We're going to also try our best to summarize the processes into four processes. We have the human resource planning, which has to do with recruitment, selection, hiring, training, induction, orientation, evaluation, promotion, and layoff. Then we have the employee remuneration and benefits administration. Okay, employee remuneration and benefits administration. Okay, and then we have performance management, and then we have employee relations. I'm going to try to explain each and every one of them. So human resource planning. Human resource planning is also referred to as the manpower planning, where you plan the number of people that will be needed for the work to be done in your organizations, and then also making provision for future needs of the organization. So it's not just about dealing with the immediate needs, it also has to do with the long-term needs. And that's why we talked about strategic management in HRM. All right, so human resource planning helps you with handling issues from recruitment to layoffs. Meanwhile, it also helps you with retention and also planning on the longer term. One of the things that have evolved in human resource planning is the introduction of talent management. So with talent management, you could have a pool of resources human resources that you can always fall back to getting the result that you want. Then we'll have the employee remuneration and benefit administration, which deals with a structured pattern on how staff are going to be paid in terms of salaries, payrolls, and then talking about things like your gratuity, your pensions, your leave allowances, incentives, and when you have to work overtime, how do you deal with that? That's also part of the benefit administration, all right? Part of the benefit administration also, you look at things like training, capacity development for staff, okay, and then after service benefits and engagement, they are all included in employee remuneration and benefits. Then you have the performance management. In performance management, we deal with definition of visions, goals, objectives, definition of targets, okay, definition of targets, and then it also deals with development of key performance indicators to be able to reward performance that has been achieved, okay, or to be able to achieve reward targets that have been achieved. Okay, so businesses are solely driven for profit, especially profit-based organizations that are solely driven by profit. But apart from that, we could say businesses are intentionally created to achieve results, Now, to be able to get these results, people are employed to work on different aspects of the business to be able to achieve results. So we have KPI, key performance indicators. It now helps us to monitor and evaluate the work that has been done by the people. And that being said, that helps us to know what kind of reward that we'll be bringing. So performance management has to do with definition of targets, making sure that we build the capacity of the people who are going to be achieving those results and resourcing them enough, providing them with all the resources they need to achieve the targets or the results, and then providing the necessary supervision and support for them to achieve the results, and then following up with an evaluation to compare between what they've achieved versus the baseline or the target that was initially developed for them to achieve. So businesses are target-driven. Businesses are result-oriented, whether it is for profit or non-profit. They are all result-oriented. They are all target-driven. So we pay because of targets achieved, results achieved, not for occupying spaces or handling titles in an organization. So performance management helps us to understand how to go about our development of our targets, development of the objectives, development of the capacity of the people needed to do the work. It also helps us with providing the necessary leadership and support for the people and providing the adequate resources for them to be able to achieve their results, and then evaluating whatever thing they've achieved versus the baseline upon which the target was developed. And then we can decide what the reward will look like. Okay, then we'll have the employee relations. The employee relations is vast. Somebody mentioned about employee experience today. Samuel talked about employee experience, all right? Now, when we talk about employee relations majorly talks about how you engage with your staff, how you create satisfactory experience for your staff, and then also how do you relate with them in terms of their external affiliations. So some, like I said earlier, some professionals within organizations have associations that they belong to. How do you create that relationship that allows them for continuous professional development to have affiliations with their own trade associations and the likes? Okay, so we need to be conscious and deliberate, intentional while creating employee relations, handling employee relations. Part of employee relations is also the employee motivation. Okay, employee motivation. How do you engage? How do you motivate? How do you create the right experiences? How do you create the relationship between the management and the staff? What kind of relations exist? And then talking about the internal and the external relationship between the staff and their trade associations, how do you go about that? These are also very, very important. So I've spoken about human resource management, or human resource planning, which is the effective and structured approach to people recruitment, selection, hiring, training, induction, orientation, evaluation, promotions, layoff, training and development, payments and all of that. Then employee remuneration and benefits administration deals more with the payments, deals more with the benefits that the people are going to accrue. So all of the benefits, all of the prospective payments that you want to make to them or incentives that you want to provide, they are all here in the employee remuneration and benefits management line. And then you have the performance evaluation. I've talked about targets. The organizations are driven by results. Organizations are driven by targets. So we have organizations having key result areas. We have organizations having KPIs to make sure that they're able to track performance or work be done. And that will determine the reward. And then we'll have the employee relations. How do you create a good experience for your employees? How do you create employee satisfaction? How do you create the good relations in terms of internal and external environment within your business? Okay. All right. So that's about that. On this, I'm going to move faster. I believe you can still see my screen. All right, so please, when you get these materials, you can take all the time to read the literature involved. All right. All right. Now, quickly, let's look at the skills of the HR professional, the skills of a HR professional. Now, before we look at these skills, in the chat room, what skills do you think the HR should have, especially in contemporary time? Don't mind what I've put on the screen, but in 5 minutes, can we discuss that in the chat room? What skills do you think the HR of today should have? 5 minutes, let's look at them. Okay, write them down in the chat room. Feel free to use the internet and get every information you need to get because we are all learning together. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. I saw from Marvelous wrote leadership skills with a high emotional intelligence. I love that. Confidentiality skill, that's great. Strong analytical skill, beautiful. Strategic thinking, lovely. And decision making. So still talking about strategic management. Strong communication skill, e.g. listening, writing, and the personal skills. Okay, so Sandra says she can hear. Rosemary said adaptability skills. And 2, confidentiality skills. Samuel says tech savvy, organization, patience, flexibility, commitment. All right. So these are some of the skills, contemporary skills that we need, and all of them are germane. Now let's quickly run through the PowerPoint, and then we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue. The skills of the HR professional, we have the HR skills, decision-making skills, technical skills, and leadership skills. Now, on the HR skills, we see HR skills, HR managers are required to know how people play a role in the organization, an advantage against the competition, as well as the policies, the programs, and so on. Today's HR professional must be skilled at communicating, negotiating, and team development. Communicating, negotiating, and team development. And one of the primary ways of doing this is to also be skilled technically. Okay, let me say digital skills, all right? Digital. You have to have the right digital skills to be able to become HR today. Then we have the decision-making skills. We spoke about, in the scope of HRM, we talked about strategic management and HRM. So part of the aspect of strategic management that helps us in HRM is the decision-making aspect. Somebody spoke about strategic planning today, right? So part of our decision-making boils down to what our strategic plan will become. Okay, boils down to what our HR plan will become. Okay, of course. Our HR plan should be strategic. Since we are not just dealing with the admin part of HR, we're also dealing with the talent management of HR, right? So decision-making skills, HR managers should take a variety of decisions that affect whether employees are qualified and motivated, and whether the organization is operating efficiently and complying with the law. This requires knowledge of the organization's line of business, and decisions must take into account social and ethical implications of the alternatives. Then we have technical skills. So the technical skills here will be different domains and different dimensions. So first, we want to talk about your specialized skills. Okay, your specialized skills. So your specialized skills here will have to deal with, do you have the requisite professional knowledge to be able to handle the area you're going to? So if you're HR and you want to recruit someone, you want to ascertain the level of professionalism that the person is going to go into. In recent time, the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Nigeria to be precise, brought out a circular that all admin staff, all HR staff must professionalize. So it's not just getting anyhow person, but they must have to become HR professionals, all right, administrative professionals, all right, and that's part of specialization. So, moving forward, it will also get to other departments, but for now, they started with HR and admin, all right. So specialization is important, all right. Specialization is important, and having to specialize, you have to get both the technical competencies and the behavioral competencies. So the technical competencies, talking about the specializing in a particular knowledge. However, that technical competence will also have to mean, in contemporary times, the digital skills needed to scale through in those specialized skills that you have. So if you want to talk about staffing, it's not just the pen on paper kind of staffing. You must be able to use the right applications and software needed for staffing, needed for development, needed for payrolls and rewards, for organizational design, and so on. All right. And we have the leadership skills. HR managers need to play a leadership role with regard to the organization's HR. In today's environment, leadership often requires helping the organizations manage change. HR professionals must oversee changes taking place to make it a success. Somebody mentioned about adaptability skills. Adaptability skills, yeah, adaptability skills. One of the areas of leadership right now that every organization must pay attention to is the adaptability skills. That's ability to manage change management skills. So as a leader, you must be able to navigate the complexities and the uncertainties in the business environment and also deliver results by managing those things. Okay. All right, emerging HRM functions. We have three broad categories of emerging HRM functions. So you have business and strategic partner. Now you have HR serving as a strategic business partner to businesses. Now they may or may not have offices in those organizations, but they provide HR services to those organizations and also provide business support services to those organizations. They help the organizations achieve their goals, and then also by doing so, they also achieve their own goals. Part of it, the financial goals. Then you have the employee advocate. Part of the employee advocate are people who try to ensure that organizations follow through and staff follow through to the compliance laws, the regulatory laws provided for workplace practices. So we have those that try as much as they can to make sure that people follow through standards, conventions set for HR practices. Okay. So it simply means that there are people whose role is ensuring that people comply to HR standards. So if you go to organizations, you have people like internal audit and control, or some will say internal audit, compliance and control. So the compliance there, you can refer to them as the employee advocate. So they try as much as they can that the organization should comply with whatever the needs of the external environment could be in terms of government, regulatory agencies and the like. Where it be, that particular department should also ensure that staff comply with the set rules and regulations within the organization. And the organization ensures compliance to providing the right customer or perhaps employee experience to the staff. All right, just to make sure that the environment is having a culture of self-motivation, a culture of ownership of job, and a culture of people making their contributions without having hesitations. They have the change champion. HR managers have to be change agents. So if you want to tell people to go for digital, you have to be the forefront. You have to be in the forefront. Okay, you must be a practitioner of what you talk about. All right. So the HR partners, practitioners should be the change agents that they want to introduce to their organizations. All right. Now, a tip: internal scans are used to identify key movement and patterns within the organization, which may affect HR operations. External scans look at outside factors such as economic conditions and the need for certain skills which affect employment. So we've been talking about internal to external relations. So you want to find out through internal scanning, what are the things within the organization, the movements and patterns within the organization that can affect HR operations. Of course, we realize that things like entry and exit, they can affect operations. We also understand that when we have poor employee experience, poor employee morale, poor employee motivation, it can also affect HR operations. So you want to be sure which of the internal elements provide the most positive results, and you want to reinforce on them. And then you also look at the external variables that can also affect the HR operations, and then how you can manage them. Now we will take this and then we'll go on a break. When we come back, we will continue from where we start. All right. Our break is supposed to be by 12. So you're going to permit me to quickly run through this, and then we'll go on a break. And then when we come back, we'll have a 30 minutes break. And then when we come back, we continue. Difference between personnel management and human resource management. I've already exemplified this before, what personnel management is and what human resource management is. So personnel management is essentially workforce centered, whereas human resource management is resource centered. So in personnel management, humans are considered as tools of production or tools for production. Whereas in human resource management, they are considered as resource. So personnel management is not focused, it doesn't have sustainability as a core focus, whereas human resource management considers sustainability as a core focus. And that's why we talk about succession planning. All right, okay. Now to summarize this discussion, personnel management, please can I have someone read this for us? This is a very long literature. Please can I have someone? Feel free to unmute and read as loud as you can.
Okay, difference between personnel management and human resource management.
Yeah.
Okay, personnel management. Traditionally, the term personnel management was used to refer to the set of activities concerning the workforce, which included staffing, payroll, contractual obligations, and other administrative tasks. In this respect, personnel management encompasses the range of activities that are to do with managing the workforce rather than resources.
Personnel, I'm not hearing you again. Is someone else hearing Marvelous? I can see her microphone is vibrating, but I can't hear.
Personnel management, can you hear me, please?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, personnel management is more administrative in nature. The personnel manager's main job is to ensure that the needs of the workforce as they pertain to their immediate concern are taken care of. Further, personnel managers typically played the role of mediators between the management and the employees. And hence, there was always the feeling that personnel management was not in tune with the objective of the management.
Okay, that is personnel management. So let's go to human resource management. Can I have another volunteer, please? Human resource management, another volunteer. So I still have Mohammed, I have Rosemary, I have Samuel, I have Sandra. So can we get another volunteer apart from Marvelous?
Okay, let me read. This is Rosemary. Human resource management. With the advent of resource-centric organizations in recent decades, it has become imperative to put people first, as well as secure management objectives of maximizing the ROI, meaning return on investment on the resources. This has led to the development of the modern HR. I can't see the screen again. Hello? Hello?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you now.
Rosemary, are you the one reading?
Yes, I was.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, so this has led to the development of the modern HRM function, which is
sorry, please. Can you start from the beginning? Sorry, please.
Okay. With the advent of resource-centric organizations in recent decades, it has become imperative to put people first, as well as secure management objectives of maximizing the ROI, that's return on investment, on the resources. This has led to the development of the modern HRM function, which is primarily concerned with ensuring the fulfillment of management objectives and at the same time ensuring that the needs of the resources are taken care of. In this way, HRM differs from personnel management not only in its broader scope, but also in the way in which its mission is defined. HRM goes beyond the administrative tasks of personnel management and encompasses a broad vision of how management will utilize the resources. So, okay, I think that's all on the slide. I can't see the remaining. That should be all. Hello?
Yes, something is covering our slide.
Yes, yes. It stops at a broad
Okay.
vision of how, I think that's where it stops.
Okay, so a broad
Okay, so
vision.
of how management would like the resources to contribute to the success of the organizations.
Okay, so from what we've seen, we'll see that administrative is workforce centered, which is more like administrative tasks, but HRM is broader, HRM is wider, HRM is bigger, okay? It centers more on how both the organization and the people achieve success. Okay, so it goes beyond administrative tasks. All right. Okay, so let's quickly go on a short break, on a 30 minutes break. By the time we come back, we'll take our time to look at all of this in details. And then I believe that by the time we are done with all of this, each and every one of us should be able to know how to conduct job analysis, job description, job specification, and job design. So I will come back in 30 minutes time. We'll be taking a full practical section on job analysis, job description, job specification, and job design. If you're joining us from Nigeria, we'll be back by 12:45. If you're joining us from Ghana, we'll be back by 11:45. If you're joining us outside of Nigeria and Ghana, please check your time. In 30 minutes, we'll be back. Thank you and see you in 30 minutes. We're going to shut down and then reconvene in 30 minutes. Thank you.